And we are in the stew with Mari from CheerForce Nfinity, San Diego State University, and former SMOED alumni for the
Yes.
California All Stars. And in just a second, we're going to go through like your whole cheer history. But let everybody know also, give us your name, your name, and what your major is at San Diego State University. Ready, set, go.
Okay, I'm Mari, and my major is kinesiology in pre-PT specifically. It's hard, but we're going through it.
Nice. Nice. They have a good so pre-PT for those that aren't in the I only know because my stepmom is a physical therapist. So pre-PT is like pre-physical therapy, right?
Yes.
And is there I don't know if I know anybody that's doing PT at SDSU. Is that a good PT program?
It's a very good PT program. Megan Lieberman, who's also on CheerForce Infinity, just got into the program like right now, like this past semester.
Yeah.
So it's a very good program. It's very small, very intimate, but it's very well known from like this side of town. That's my
Nice.
goal. My dream is to end up there. So
Outstanding. And are you, with that, are you obviously wanted to become a physical therapist? Like, do you want to have your own practice one day? Or do you want to do sports physical therapy? What's the end goal?
I want to do sports physical therapy. My dad's trying to convince me to open my own practice in the far, far future because he has crazy ideas, but I really want to get into sports specifically, like football, baseball, any of those like pro sports.
Right on. And so you want to be in a professional realm, or do you want to work with like collegiate athletes, or kind of anything?
I think somewhere in between the two, like collegiate or pro, like I anything under that, I don't know if I could deal with like kids or like pediatrician type of vibe. I could never.
Got it.
I don't have the patience.
Don't you coach children?
Yes, but that's different because I know these kids very well.
Got it. Got it. So
And like if it's someone new, like I got to know these kids very well. They do test my patience every day though.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's I mean, I think that's the true litmus test of where your patience is, right? Whatever you think of yourself as a human being, wherever you think like, oh, I'm a patient person, right? Like say someone that drives on the road and they never get road rage, they never get angry on the road, right? And I'm a very patient person. It's like work with, some 8 to 12-year-olds or even
Hmm.
12 to 15-year-olds, 2 hours a day, 3 days a week, and then
Then you'll
t-
know.
tell me about your patience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you again so much for being here. I'm very, very excited to talk to
Me
you, and I'm
too.
really, really glad you are here. Um, and the first question I'm always going to ask this with everybody is when, where, and how long ago did you get your start in cheerleading?
Oh wow. It's probably been like 13-ish, 14 years now, but back when I was like 8, 7 years old, I'd been doing gymnastics for 5, 6 years at this point. My mom randomly, there's this park down the street in Beverly Hills from where we live, and she randomly put me in a camp there for the summer because I wasn't doing anything. I went for like 2 weeks straight at this cheer camp, and the coach or like the owner of the camp came up to me and she goes, "Have you ever thought about doing this profession, like actually doing this?" And I was like, "Not really, but like I'll talk to my mom about it." Maybe 4 or 5 months later, next thing I know, I'm on a Pop Warner team for the city of Beverly Hills, and that coach changed my life for the rest of it. Her name is Joanna Trocan. She coaches LAX All Stars. It's a very small location in LA, but she is the reason I'm here today. If I didn't meet her, if I little 7-year-old me didn't do cartwheels on her front lawn, I would not be here today. And she started it all, and she's still part of my life till this day. I see her all the time, and yeah,
That's outstanding. What was her name again?
Joanna.
Joanna.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's coaches a very small little gym in LA. Like, there's another girl from SDSU who was on it with me back then, which is very small world. But she found a lot of girls and she told them to do this stuff, and a lot of us are still doing it to this day because of her. And she does. I will say it till the day I die. People need to know who that girl is because she started me.
That's
She's the reason I'm
outstanding.
here.
That's outstanding. And how many years did you cheer there with her?
I cheered there for 3 years, I think, and then I looked at her one day and I was like, I can't stay on a level 3 for the rest of my life.
Hmm.
And she was the one who told me to start my journey. She was the one, she said go. And every time I took a step in the further direction, she was the one who told my mom go.
Wow.
Every time.
That's outstanding. And
Yeah.
those are the real ones, that
Mhm.
genuinely just want to see you succeed. Man, you just reminded me, and I've already said this on one of my other interviews, but you just reminded me of something that uh, I know that Martin Luther King Jr. said it on his speech before his assassination. The day before his assassination, he said it, and it's on in Memphis at the Civil Rights Museum. It's on the little plaque. But I remember seeing it for the first time ever. I saw it as an adult. I think I was 26 or 27. And it said, "We may not get there together, but I assure you we will get to the promised land." And that is something, obviously for us coaches of cheerleading, well, I'm a former coach, we try to take everything from the world and try to condense it and gear it towards cheerleading, right? We try to
Yeah.
take all these life experiences and put them in the prism of cheerleading. And then we, vice versa, we take all the things in cheerleading and try to apply it to real life, outside of that. But that's something that expression has stayed with me for so long, and that's something I am profoundly proud of athletes that I've coached, that even if I didn't coach them when they got a national championship or a world championship, seeing them arrive there, it still just fills me with so much joy and so much pride. And it reminds me of that quote from Martin Luther King Jr. It's like, from my perspective, I'm like, you know what? We didn't get to the promised land together, but you got there, and that fills me with pride and joy and love. And it sounds like
It's
Joanna is like
exactly
that
that.
type of person. Like,
Yeah.
she just wants to see you. She wants to see you at the mountaintop, and that's awesome.
She's always been there. Number one fan of mine. Still get texts from her till this day.
Outstanding. That's super cool. Well, I hope one day I get to meet her. She sounds awesome.
She's the
And
best. She'll be
her
around.
gym's in LA.
Yeah, she's has a little gym in LA called LAX All Stars, and she comes to football games every once in a while. She'll come once a year. She showed up to a competition or two because, excuse me, the other girl on state has also been there since we met at the same age. We were there at 7, 8 years old, and she and I reconnected here at SDSU, and Joanna has been there for both of us this whole time.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joanna. Joanna, I hope I get to meet you one day. That's fantastic. Okay, so now kind of take me, a little bit farther down the path. Can you name, this one might be a tricky one, can you name all the teams that you've been on each season? Like maybe if the team didn't have a team name, like the level, like each year
Mhm.
you did, all the way through to now being on SDSU and Infinity.
I actually think I can like
Okay,
easily do that.
let's do it.
So my first year was the Beverly Hills Tigers JV team. And then the second year was it was a junior two. It was LAX All Stars Jet Setters. Third year was what was it called? Oh, it was a senior level 3 co-ed. It was my first year on the senior team. It was called Velocity. It was also at LAX. And this is when I made my jump to SCV. So then I jumped to Santa Clarita and I was on SCV Senior Black for my first year. And then the next year I was on Senior Black in R5, which was the restricted 5 back then.
Hmm.
Year after that, Senior Black in X5. And then the year after that, I did X5 for one more year. And then I left to Cali.
Hmm.
And then I did SMOED for the 3 years. And now I'm here at
That's
CheerForce Nfinity
outstanding.
and
So,
state.
so cheered for Joanna, cheered for Danielle,
Hmm.
cheered for Eddie and Orby, and now cheering for Jen Long.
Yep.
Those are some iconic coaches. I mean, if we were to make like a top 10, top 15, top 10 list of cheer coaches in the industry, I'm pretty sure 3 of your 4 coaches would be on those
Oh,
lists.
100%.
Yeah, that's pretty
100%.
awesome. That's outstanding. It's
Yeah.
great company, which explains a lot about who you are as an athlete, and I'm sure who you are as a person. Those people are high quality people, high quality coaches that find ways to bring out the best in their people. That's fantastic.
Each one of them shaped me for the future in their own way.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be here without any single one of them.
yeah. Well, we're gonna get into that. That's gonna be a question coming up. But I'm very impressed that you named every single team that you were on, and you were on SMOED. Were you on any other teams? I already know the answer to this
Oh,
question, but
yes. I was on Snipers and Assassins.
here we
I forgot
go.
about that. I was on Snipers my last year when I was on SMOED for 2022. And then
NCAA
I was,
champs.
yeah, I've missed that team. Team was awesome. And then I was on Assassins not the 2 years, the year before that. I filled in on Assassins for the rest of the season. I came in like in January and then I stayed the rest of the year.
Got it. They'll get you. You
Oh,
just
they'll
fill
get you.
you fill in and then you stay in.
Eddie got me multiple times.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
just look at me and be like, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow?" I'm like,
yeah.
"I'm guessing I'm here."
Yep. It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah,
We all do that. All of us coaches do that. We're looking around like we see somebody. Oh, they jam their finger. It's like, hey, what? Can you be here tomorrow, 6:30? All right, cool.
exactly.
Yep. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you some questions about your cheerleading, journey through the course of going through the levels and going through. Different teams. I'm wondering, was there any skill? We'll start with tumbling, and I'm going to ask you this about tumbling and stunting. Was there any tumbling skill that was particularly challenging for you to attain? Like, man, this one skill it was really, really hard to get.
For sure, my double, it still lasts till this day. Probably could not do it anymore.
Hmm.
It is an on and off thing I've had since I was 14, 15. I got it, and every other year it was either there or it was gone. And till this day, I will not throw it because I just know, I just know it's not meant to be.
Got it. So was it a frustrating thing for you? Was it something that, you just chipped away at? Kind of talk us through that process.
It was insanely frustrating. Like, I was in privates every week. It especially, like, the main part of it was when I was at Cali, and it was, I would compete it one day and the next day I couldn't throw it. Or I had multiple privates, multiple different coaches. I switched between privates from Eddie and Orby to see whose approach would get it there. Taryn, who coaches at, I'm pretty sure it's Top Gun Miami. She used to come down a lot, and she was a major part of that. Like, those three people had me constantly fighting this battle that I had with that skill, because it just, that's like, I tell Jen all the time, I was like, I probably could physically do it, but I just don't know if I could consistently do it anymore, because it took a long time for me to even get there. Many years.
Got it. Okay, now the flip side of that, what was a skill that was just so easy, like you got it first time you tried it? Can you remember any?
Honestly, I'm not going to say now because it became one of those skills that's really off and on, but when I was younger, my standing full came very, very easily to me. It was really weird. Just one day was at SCV and I walked in and the tumbling coach there, Juan, was like, you should try this. And I was like, okay. I think I did it for maybe an hour and I had it on the floor that day. And it was very weird, but I still have the skill to this day, but because I gotten older, it's gotten a little harder to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I got it when I was 14, and I look back at videos and I was like, why can't I do it like that anymore? And I'm like, I'm not that person anymore.
No. Wow. So interesting. So the standing full was easy and the double full was a challenge.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that feel the same way, but I know there's a lot of people out there that are kind of the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Like the double came and then the standing full. I'm in that camp. My double full, the interview is not about me, but I do want to shout out my man Ryan Reeves, who is now a retired Navy SEAL. And yeah, my sophomore year in college, he dared me to throw a double on grass at Century High School and said if I landed it, he'd buy me a Mountain Dew. And so that was it. I threw a double full. I have no idea what it looked like because we didn't have cameras back then. This was, when TVs were black and white. But I threw it on the grass and I got a Mountain Dew. And this was back when Mountain Dews were 70 cents in the vending machine. Yep. And then on the flip side, a standing full took me almost 3 years to the day.
Oh, wow.
Almost 3 years to the day. It was
I know a lot of people just like that take so long. It's it's always one or the other. Some people get it really easy and some people just will never get it.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's transition to stunting. We'll do the same question. What stunting skill, and maybe hard stunting skill isn't the right way to put it. Maybe a stunting skill that was really intimidating. Like maybe you were timid in approaching it, especially now, cheering in college. Was there any stunt anywhere in your cheerleading career where you're like, I am going to have a hard time with it, or I'm having a hard time with this, or struggle, or maybe just intimidated by it?
I have a great example. This happened this past year. Basically the whole entire all-girls stunt last year, because I don't know, my group could talk about it till this day. We have a love-hate and relationship with that bufu, that back handspring full up, love-hate relationship with it. Same with the shotgun, love-hate relationship with it. Some days it's the best thing we've ever done. Other days Pow was falling left to right, and that was one skill that I walked in and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have to keep doing it. Just gonna have to rep it out, because that one was hard. That one took a lot of tears, a lot of angry. We were really good as a group, though, because we all kind of understood. So, when we were feeling that way, we'd just, walk away. We wouldn't take it out on each other, but that was the one. I think Jen could even talk about it to you. That was the one skill our group was just what is going on?
And give me that abbreviation again, the back handspring full up.
Back handspring full up. So, A bufu.
A boo-foo.
Yeah.
Boo-foo. I love it. That's great. I've never heard that before, and now that's in there. That's seared in there. And then what's the shotgun? Talk us through that. Anybody that doesn't know what a shotgun is.
A shotgun is basically like a rewind, but from prep level. So you're dipping, throwing, backflipping, and catching at the top. And that was we I will say like we were the first group to like experiment with it when we started doing them. And we
Mhm.
got it pretty like easy the first few times, but it's one of those skills that's so hard impacting on your body that if your body's just not feeling it that day, like that catch hurts so bad. Having to recatch a whole backflip, it's straight momentum just coming down.
Yeah,
Which is one of those things that every time we had to do it, I was like, okay, this is gonna hurt. I just knew.
right on. Okay, so now the flip side of that, what is a stunting skill that was just like it clicked the first time you tried it, it just made sense and it worked easy?
I think a double up. Like I've
Really?
always really enjoyed not as a main base. I can't do anything more than like a full up as a main base, maybe a 1.5. After that, like I don't it doesn't register with my brain how it works.
Hmm.
But as a side base, double like anything spinning has always just like it's a certain part of my brain and I really enjoy it because I enjoy seeing and catching. And double ups when I first started learning them, I was like, wait, I kind of really like this. And I
Right.
like the fluidity of it.
Yeah. You just brought up an interesting point. I should have asked that as part of your cheer journey is like, what other stunt positions have you been in? So you've been a main base and a side base.
And a flyer. And I'm gonna count this. I backspotted a little. I dilly dabbled in backspotting for a little bit, but I've done about everything. I'm not good at main basing. Probably, I feel like I could be good at backspotting if I actually tried it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that good though, but like a solid like level 2 backspot I could really do. Like
Solid
maybe
level two.
or maybe like a level 3, but
Okay.
main basing definitely not for me. Flying, I wish it was for me. I still to this day will tell Jen I want to fly, even
Yeah.
though I'm way past those days. Like I last time I flew was on a level 4 when I was on senior black at SCV, but side basing's my thing till the day I
Got it.
die. Never stop it.
Yeah. Shout out to all the side bases. For me, I always tried to, and it's not 100%, but I always tried to put side bases in groups that I thought had like really fast reflexes, right?
Hmm.
Because in every skill, if you're doing a release move, you got to let go and catch. If you're doing a full up, you got to let go and catch. If you're
Yep.
doing an inversion, you got to let go and catch. And so it's like no matter what the skill is, the side base has to let go and catch, regardless of if it's twisting, inversion,
Any of it.
whatever. So it's like I would always think like who has quick reflexes, right? Play a quick game of dodgeball, throw it at somebody's face. If they catch it, side base, right?
Yeah. Which is really weird because I have very fast reflexes when it comes to like stunting and stuff, but sometimes I catch myself like on a daily basis. Like someone will throw something at me and I'll miss it. Like my roommate, not my roommate, my friend was here the other day and I was carrying something
Hmm.
and he threw something at me because he didn't notice I was carrying something and he threw it at me to catch it. I just threw everything that was in my hands. I didn't even try to catch it. And that was like I was like, how do I can be so fast at a stunt, but I can't process something getting thrown at me.
Right. What
It's
was it
really
that he
weird.
threw?
It was a pair of keys. Like it was like the keys to open the door. And I just like threw the box that was in my hand and it like flew out my hands.
So you can catch humans, but
Not a pair of keys.
not a pair of keys. All right,
No.
interesting. All right. Okay, so now we've gotten there and we talked about it a little bit, and I want to bring it back to your coaching. The people who have coached you, right? You've been coached by some of the most iconic and influential coaches in our industry.
100%.
And for those that don't, I mean, I think Eddie and Orby are probably household names. Jen Long is probably a household name. But for anybody that doesn't know, Danielle should and could be a household name.
It
And
should be.
you've already
100%.
mentioned Senior Black, a couple times. And for those that don't know, if you competed in the small senior forward division, right?
Large. Yeah,
Large
back
senior
then was
forward
large.
division, who SCV
Yeah.
Senior Black was, right? I knew who it was. It was actually there was years where I intentionally stayed out of that division. So I'm like, I don't want none of that smoke. I don't want
Hmm.
none of that. So in thinking of the iconic coaches that you've had in cheerleading, can you take us through some of the differences that you experienced, or some of the ways that you maybe had to adjust as an athlete? Going from Joanna to Danielle, and then Danielle to Eddie and Orby, and then Eddie and Orby to Jen. What ways have you? And I should also say, is it Alexandria or Alexandra? Coach Alex.
Alexandria. Alexandra?
Does she just go by Alex?
It goes by Alex.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Coach Jen and Alex, coaches Eddie and Orby, Coach Danielle and Juan, right?
Yeah.
He's growing out his hair, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's long.
He should cut it. But that's and then Joanna. So take us through some of the differences in their coaching style and how you adjusted to those, and also how they helped you.
Oh yeah. Well, when I started, like, and I jumped from Joanna to SCV, like, it was night and day because at Joanna, we were practicing at a gymnastics gym. We would use like the front half of the floor. Like we never really had a full floor. And I got to SCV and it was like 0 to 100. Like I've never conditioned before practice. I've never done a bear crawl. Didn't have tumbling classes that were like formed into practices. So it was a complete shift. But weirdly, like throughout the whole experience, like it just came naturally to me. And I think it's because I had that gymnastics background where I was being beat to the death of like tiredness.
Mm-hmm.
But she was easy to come to. Like my first year was very quiet. This will be a common thing that happens to me. I'm really quiet the first year, and then the second or third year I really get to know them. And I really got close with her. She was a great coach. She taught me a lot. I became a base because of her. Like I wouldn't be a side base if it wasn't for her and all that stuff. And her Danielle, Jen, and Eddie all in my brain kind of like almost are on the same level of like type of coach, but all in a little different way. Like Jen is equally as funny and equally as aggressive and equally as like hard minded on cheerleading, but also a little more alleviating and a little more like relaxed, but not 'cause we know Jen, she gets a little stressed out. But Danielle was like, they're all kind of like a great like combo of the same. It's kind
Mm-hmm.
of hard to explain it, but I tell people all the time this about Eddie and Jen a lot. They're like my mother and father in my brain. Like Eddie and her, like the same person, just like man and woman, like two different people. And Eddie was like the hard beating like father who also loved you on the side, and Jen is equally that hard beating mother but loves you on the side.
Mm.
And jumping from like from SCV to Cali to here, it was honestly very easy, especially the SCV to Cali one, because like the SCV one I kind of already got the hard working, like you need to put in all the work, and then Eddie kind of just like forces it on you the minute you walk in. Like there's no like getting used to it period, and I think that's what made it so easy. Like you walk in and he's like run 5 miles. So it was just like I was put in the situation, and it just happened to like come so naturally to me. Even though I was dying 95% of those practices, I wasn't breathing properly probably, but he made me like this person. He is a big part of my life till this day. Like he made me this person. Each one of them makes me this person.
Mm-hmm.
And Jen as well. Like I could come to Jen about the stupidest things in my life and she would be like, you're just being stupid. And like she would tell me like the truth, and that's what I like about all three of them. Like they always told me the truth about the situation. They
Mm-hmm.
never beat around the bush with me about things. And yeah, they're all these amazing coaches that I'm so blessed every day that were in my life, and
Mm-hmm.
like they all created the version of me that was best to move on. Like
Mm.
Danielle created this athlete who wanted more, who wanted to win. She wanted to feel this, like she made the drive in me to do more. And that's why I left. I had the drive that she instilled in me for so many years to like be more than I can be. And that's where I went to Eddie, and Eddie created an athlete that got what she wanted but kept pushing for more.
Mm.
And that's what brought me to to Jen. Like I was done with cheer after 2022. Not many people know this. I was done. I was never going to cheer again. I was over. April comes around this time that year, and I was just like, no, I'm not done. Like Eddie put that in me, like you're not done until you're done. And I was like, I'm not done. And Jen was the first option, the best option I probably could have ever chose. I'm so happy where I landed. Yeah.
That's outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And I mean, anybody that's applying to colleges knows like you can't be some schlump trying to get into SDSU. Like you better have those T's crossed and those I's dotted if you're trying to go. That's a big dog school.
Yeah, and it's actually really funny. Jen and I talk about this quite often now. I was not coming to SDSU ever. Like it was not in my ballpark. It was like I was convinced. My mom will tell everyone this too. Like I was so convinced I was not getting into SDSU. I didn't even talk to Jen. I didn't even try out. I didn't send in a tryout video. I didn't do anything. I was going to Louisville. Like I was convinced. I was like, I'm gonna end up in Kentucky. Just that's what's gonna be. Like that's where I'm gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best of both worlds, cheer and school. And then the day I got the email was 3 weeks later after the tryout day, and I got an email saying, "Congratulations, you got into San Diego State University." I called my mom like crying, and she goes, "Have you contacted Jennifer Long yet?" And I was like, "No." I sent Jen this like most frantic email ever. I was freaking out. I was like, "Hi, my name is Mariana. Like, I didn't think I was getting in. I threw in like I was on SMOED. I was just like putting all this stuff." And she just goes, "It's okay. Send me a video." I sent her a video 2 days later, which weirdly I just like manipulated another tryout video I had, and I sent it to her. And that 48, 72 hour period changed my life for the rest of my life. Like, I would not be here if this school did not let me in.
Yeah. That's outstanding. What a cool story. And
Yeah.
man, that it's so you know, important I think for people to really grasp like your life can change very quickly. And so, no matter how bad things might be, it's like, man, give it one day, give it 2 days. It's
Yeah.
like it could change drastically. And same as if things are going great, it's like enjoy
Walks
it and
away.
appreciate it because it could, just change. And
Exactly.
shout out to Louisville. There's nothing wrong with Kentucky.
Oh, no,
I
not at all.
I went to Kentucky.
That was
I
my
was
number one
there.
choice at first.
Really?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
100% where I was going.
Right
Like,
on.
I visited the school, started the tryout process. It was between there and Moorhead at the time,
Mm.
and love Moorhead
Have you
equally as
gone to
much.
Moorhead, Kentucky?
Yes, I have. And I love the school of Moorhead so much, and I would have loved to be a part of that cheer program. But like, I'm from LA. The lifestyle I live is so out, and like, I would have gone bored of the city. And it's one of those things like you can't just pick a place because of like it's good. This place is going to be good for you. You have to pick up the whole environment has to be good for you, and that's how I ended
Yes.
up in San Diego because it was everything I wanted.
Yeah. That's outstanding. Yeah, yeah. It's funny how you said it's like within 48 to 72 hours, your whole life changed. It's like my journey to Kentucky was the
Hmm.
same way. It was like I was, just sitting around, and my journey to Memphis before Kentucky was the same way. It was like I was just sitting around with some friends. I was like, hey, I got this job offer out there. And, I was just sitting there and I had not made a decision one way or the other. And one of my buddies was like, well, what's keeping you from going? Like what? And I was like, yeah, nothing really. So let's go. So then
Exactly.
I just accept it and boom, like,
Changes overnight.
yeah, move across the country. That was really cool. Um, can you tell me, we talked about how you talked about how, Danielle kind of prepared you for Eddie and Orby, and Eddie and Orby kind of prepared you for, Jen Long and all that. Is there any differences in the cultures of those incredible teams? I mean, SMOED is a household name. CheerForce Nfinity is a household name. Are there any differences or similarities with the two cultures of those teams that kind of stand out to you? Like, oh, your SMOED was like this, and now it's like this, and talk us through that.
100% between SCV and like SMOA. That was a very more those were closer knit in like the way everything was run. Everything was like drill. Like you're here to do a job. And same thing here. It's you're here to do a job, but I think the main difference is like I'm not beating myself to the ground every single practice anymore because some my body can't do that anymore. Like a lot of us have come to the point, and so like that's what's the big difference is that Jen kind of understands that we're reaching a point in our age that we're here for fun. A lot of us do this for fun now. We want to be here. We're not being like our parents aren't making us do it. Like all this stuff. We are here because we want to be there, and I think she's a lot more cautious when it comes to making sure we're physically like gonna be able to like go through it. And if she knows if she was to push us the way Smoed would have pushed me at this age right now, if like we wouldn't survive.
Mm.
And that's the main cultural difference. Is it's a lot not relaxed. It's because like we're on a mission here too, but it's just like I'm not walking in and running 5 miles, but I'm walking in, stretching, making sure everything's warmed up before I throw a tumbling pass. Like that's the main thing, but everything else is like we're here for the same thing. Like
Mm.
everyone wants the same exact thing that I wanted back then. And that's the other thing is the kids, like not even kids, we're all adults now, like we all want it. And it's back then it was like some like we all wanted it, but like we were getting pushed to want it more.
Mm-hmm.
And we as adults now at Infinity, we all already want it. Some of us want it more than anyone could ever say. Like some people have never even I will shout out a lot of people that our NCAA win this past few weeks ago, half of our team had never even gone. And half of our team had never even competed or ever even won anything. And like for me, I'm grateful to say it was my fourth time winning, but like for my best friend, Sam Collins, shout out Sam Collins, she had never won ever in her life. And that's what she wanted. And like, I think that's what's the difference is like we're adults who actually like, who are fighting for something that we've wanted our whole lives. And that's the best part about it is everyone has the equal drive and like motivation. And like when you're younger, there's always that one or two people who don't have the same exact like want and drive because like they're not there in their lives yet.
Right.
But that's the best thing about Infinity is that every single one of us has the same drive for the same result. And that's what it's really comfortable. Like there's no fighting, there's no like arguing because everyone is on the same mission, on the same road, on the same idea of what we're doing here.
Yeah. That's brilliant. And I just want to make sure I'm hearing it right. It's like it kind of sounds like, those days at SCV and Cali, it was like they were the ones pushing, right? And not to say that no one was self-motivated, but it's like collectively not everybody was there, and so they kind of had to do that push. Whereas now in the environment and the culture that you're in now, like everybody is already there because they had that push somewhere in their journey.
100%.
And now it's more just kind of an expectation. It's like we know what we're here to do. Nobody has to push us. It's like we came here to do the thing and we're going to do the thing.
Exactly that, because we have some crazy, like people don't even know, like dedicated athletes who've been on some crazy teams that you wouldn't even know. Like we have ex Black Ops, ex Cali Co-Ed, ex SMOED, ex all the gyms you can ever think of. Like all come together because we're all from coming together at the school and then hopping over here and we're all coming together. And every single one of us had that person, had that coach before who pushed us that extra mile, who made us the way we are to want to push that extra mile. Like we sometimes find ourselves pushing farther than we ever thought we could because we want, like we'll fall on an elite and practice is supposed to be over and you see the adults, the 30-year-old adults doing 45 more because that's just how everyone was like raised and cheerleading to be.
Outstanding. And so just another moment to shout out Joanna, Danielle, Eddie Orby, all those coaches that are coaching at, the pre-collegiate level, right? You're coaching these all-star teams. You're coaching these high school and even middle school aged athletes. It's like, please keep doing what you're doing. Keep pushing,
100%.
Keep fighting the good fight because you're putting, you're setting these athletes up for not only a successful competitive future, but also a successful future in life. So shout out to all of them. So that is actually, I kind of created my own segue there. I wanted to ask you, those things that you learned along the way, are there any of those things that, Danielle, Joanna, Eddie, even Jen now, that are kind of teaching you, instilling in you that you have found ways to kind of utilize them in, real life, so to speak, in your college classes or if you have a job or, we talked about coaching, but are there any things that you learned or picked up along the way that equipped you and kind of prepared you for the life that you have now as an adult?
My main one is like between Eddie and Jen, they both kind of pushed me to not want to give up. And they like, especially Eddie, when I was younger, there was a lot of times where like you're dying on the edge of the floor, you want to throw up, you feel this pain, but like he's there telling you like you're gonna want to do this, you're gonna want to keep pushing. And I think him always pushing me put it in myself to continue to push myself farther because like I never thought in my life like this is where I would be. And if I just like gave up when things got hard, I would not be here because every other week it's a hard school week, a hard cheer week, a hard something. And if I was just to give up, like I would not have created what I've created in my life. And I think him being there telling me like, you need to keep going, you need to not give up. Like every meeting I ever had with him, every time I was in his office, it was always like, you can do better and you can do better. So keep pushing yourself to do better. And I think that's the best part because now I tell myself all the time, like, you can do better. You will do better now. And on the other hand, Jen, I don't know, just everything about Jen is something I strive to be her as a person. The humility, the everything about her is something that I really strive to be. And I tell her this all the time. She changed my life, like for the better, 100%. She taught me that I could equally be as strong-willed and strong-forced and determined to something while being happy and uplifting and funny about things. And those two are two people that, till the day I die, will say will influence my whole entire life. Changed me for the better.
Outstanding. It's so cool, to hear. And it's so great that you say it to her. I'm sure that means a lot to her. And that's something that it goes a long way, and good for you for taking the time out to make sure she knows that. That's huge. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just kind of, like they know how I feel. They know, or they hear it all the time, and then they just kind of passively, don't really engage. And one more shout out to Jason Larkins. There was something that I heard on his podcast a couple years ago that really, I guess it wasn't a couple years ago, maybe a year and a half, but it really shifted my thought process. It changed my everyday thought process. He did an episode where he had a friend that had passed away. And, he mentioned something about, being at the funeral and hearing all these nice things said about this person. And he brought up the great point, and of like, I wonder how many people told them those things while they were still with us. And the quote, I'm going to butcher it, so please forgive me, Jason, but he says something like, give people their flowers while you still can.
Yeah, 100%.
And you telling Jen all those wonderful things, it's like, that's perfect. It's great, because a lot of times, if you look on the internet, it's like you're going to see 100 negative comments, 100 negative things before you see a single positive one. So good for you. What a wonderful, mature, loving, and gracious adult you are, Mari. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay. So now I want to switch over to, and this is my last set of questions here before we wrap up. You've competed, and I know you already mentioned your NCAA win a few weeks ago. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I was actually there. I was there to see the performance. I was there to see the performance, and I was there to see the championship, which was super cool. Very, very cool. And it never gets old to hear, music that I got the opportunity to produce at such a prestigious event. But again, I don't want to distract. But you've competed NCAA All-Star Nationals. You've competed at UCA College Nationals now twice.
Yes.
And you've also competed at Worlds several times. And you've won, you've lost, you've kind of done everything in between. But is there any advice that you would give? And I kind of want to take each one. Is there any advice that you would give to someone that is about to compete at Worlds for the first time? Worlds is coming up. Is there any advice you would give to someone that's competing at Worlds for the first time? And then kind of same question for UCA College Nationals or any college nationals, and NCAA All-Star Nationals. Any advice you would give to someone that's going for the first time?
For Worlds specifically, like, I remember my first time like it was yesterday, even though it was almost like 6 years ago now, I would say, a very long time ago. But it's not as scary as everyone else makes it seem. It feels almost like another competition. Yes, it is the biggest stage you'll ever be on, and it's this big arena, lots of people. But at the end of the day, like, it is just another competition. It's not something to be fearful for. It's something to be excited for, because you'll never feel that rush of energy ever again in your life. It's not this, there's something different about it, but it's not as intimidating as it is. It's just a little small floor with a bunch of people who love you right next to you. That's my main thing with Worlds. And then NCAA is a whole other ball field. Like, I definitely, till this day, will get extremely nervous for NCAA, especially the arena. Like, the arena is a terrifying place to compete. It's a fishbowl. People are looking straight down at you. But the biggest thing with that is to remember that, like, you work so hard to get there for a reason, and there's a bunch of people standing right next to you that works equally as hard as you. And it's less scary if you think about it as a group of people who love each other, just doing what they love, and reminding yourself there's someone right next to you who feels the same exact way, because, that place can be so terrifying. The other hall is not as terrifying, equally as terrifying, just from the idea of being there. But it's a fun experience, and to take it all in, because that's a competition that who knows if it'll still be at Dallas until in a few years. Like, things are changing, and take it in while it lasts, because that one is a memorable one for sure. Mm-hmm. And then UCA, I don't think anyone could have prepared me properly for UCA College Nationals, because yes, it's just a cheer competition, but like, it's completely different than any all-star competition you've ever been to, because all-star competitions, it's a little more competitive. Like, everyone is competing to beat each other. There's a lot of more animosity between teams, even though people try to pretend there isn't, but there is. Like, there's animosity between divisions. Like, it's a hard environment to be in. But at UCA Nationals, truly every single team, like, wants the best for the other, because we all know that we're adults, we're doing this for fun. Like, everyone wants you to do good. everyone's excited to watch you do good, and it's a very more uplifting environment, so don't be scared to just have fun. It's a place to have fun. It's a bunch of adult cheerleaders coming together and just enjoying, and go do the things that are fun to do at UCA Nationals. Go sit and watch UCA hip hop, because that's the best experience you'll ever feel. Actually, or jazz. Like, it, just embrace it, because it's when you graduate college, you're never going to be able to do it again the same. You're not going to be sitting there at the competition for 8 hours waiting to compete because you had to watch some other team go. And it's something you have to take in moment for moment, because those are the best memories that you'll ever have. Staying with your teammates, going there, sitting, watching jazz. My roommates and I do the jazz and hip hop routines in our hallways now, because it's something that's so like instilled in your life, and it's so important to take in, because it's almost like the beginning of the end going to UCA Nationals. You're coming to the end of your career, but you're still doing one more fun thing.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's so cool. And it's like, even as you were talking about it, so I've been to UCA College twice. I've been to Daytona twice, I believe. And cool thing about Daytona is there's an all-star competition that I don't remember if it's a week before or a week after. So they do it on the band shell. It's the whole thing. So it's
I
like the
didn't
whole
even know
setup. And what I noticed while I was there, because I went to both, I went to the all-star competition and the obviously college nationals. And the obvious thing, the thing that I picked up was at the all-star competition, there are so many spectators that are non-cheerleaders, right? They're
that. Hmm.
parents and uncles and aunts. And it's also, Daytona Beach and Orlando is a huge,
Yeah.
vacation spot. So you got lots of family, little brothers, little sisters, right? Whereas at UCA College and NCAA College, like 80% of the spectators are other adult
Uh-huh.
cheerleaders, and it's like it's just hype. The
It's so
energy is
exciting in there.
through the roof. It is unreal. And
Everyone's the biggest supporter.
yeah, it's so cool. It's so, but like again, just being an outside observer, because both times I went to Daytona and UCA for Orlando for UCA and Daytona for NCAA College Nationals. I just went as a spectator, no coaching, none of that. So I just got to watch and just be one of those spectators. Like I said, the difference is,
It's night and day.
yeah, it's just so it is a different energy. It's a
Yeah.
very, very different energy, and it's much more positive,
Hmm.
because everybody's there, the whole thing. And shout out, I know you said the hip hop and the jazz. I don't know who won. I really don't keep track of that too much, but shout out to the University of Memphis hip hop and dance team,
They're
UM.
very good.
When I moved to Memphis and coached there for 3 years, like my first week there, I didn't even know that was something that people did in college, right? Because we
Hmm.
have like pom squads and stuff in high school.
Yeah.
And then I get there, and obviously I knew the University of Memphis had a cheer team that's very good, but the University of Memphis dance team, MPDT for life. I am Memphis. There was a routine to this day. Taji Davis, Sean McGee, Drew, even myself. We would like pretend. You said you were doing like the
Yeah.
routines. There was like they did this head spring thing, and this was 2011, 2012, something like that. So 12 years ago. But they did this like front head spring thing, and like they dropped down there and like I am Memphis, and to this day I'm pretty sure I could do it if I like made enough space back here. But yeah. Okay. So you gave your advice, which is great. And I love all that, and hopefully that gets people excited for each of those events. In different ways. And so the last thing that I wanted to do is I just wanted to open it up to you. I want to give you, the floor is yours, so to speak. I'm not going to be as arrogant to say this is any kind of platform, but if it was a platform, I just want to give you an opportunity to, say anything that was on your heart, anything that was on your mind, your parents, your teammates, your coaches, anything like that, and then we'll get out of here. But the floor is yours, Mari.
I would want to start just by thanking basically every single person who's touched me in the line of my soul, like in this cheerleading career, because it's been a long time. It's been many, many years, and every single one of them have done something in my life to change me. Eddie, Jen, Orby, Danielle, Taryn, Joanna, Bianca out there, if you're listening to this, like every single person changed me for the better and has been there for me in the ups and the downs of this cheerleading career. And it's made something so beautiful. And then the day that I hang up those cheer shoes, like I want people to know that you brought me here, because I would not have been here without you. My parents, specifically my mom, being my number one fan since the day it started, since I was a little gymnast. It was rough, but we're here still doing it, and it's not over yet. I'm not done yet. I ain't ending until it's over. I'm still going to be here for quite a bit longer. Jen knows this. Jen won't let me leave, but I'm stuck here. I'm doing it. This is my dream. And for any athlete that is listening, like, just know that even when it's hard, it's not the end of the world. It's not. I promise you. It's just cheerleading. You drop a stud at a competition, it's just cheerleading. And tomorrow when you're at practice, it's just cheerleading. You have to remind yourself that, because if I took every single little thing that happened in this cheer career and let it ruin me, oh, I would have been done many, many years ago. And yeah, like, just keep pushing and let the people who want to inspire you. Don't be closed-minded about it, because if you want to be inspired, just let it happen. Let it move naturally, because it's not going to happen just by you sitting around and pushing people away. But yeah, that's it.
Outstanding. Wise words from a wise young lady. Well, thank you so much. There's one last thing that I do have to say. And anybody that watches The Office, I know has been doing the same thing I've been doing this entire interview. Do you watch The Office, Mari?
A little bit.
Okay. Do you remember, I believe it's season 4 or 5, when one of the pre-rolls, the cold open of the show, is them in the conference room, and they're, Michael's giving a presentation, but right behind Michael is the TV, and it has the little DVD logo that's bouncing around in the corner. And they want it to see it go in the corner. Your screen has been the thing, and I've been watching it. I've listened to everything you've said with 100% focus, but every time I would see it in the back corner, I'm like, get in that corner, get in that corner. And it never landed there. Maybe it did it on the corner we can't see.
I completely forgot that was even there.
But anybody that watches The Office, I guarantee you they were noticing it, because that was the first thing I noticed. It was the very first thing I noticed. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Best of luck at Worlds. And I cannot wait. I will be there in attendance. So, I'll be watching. I can't wait to see Nfinity take the world stage. Congratulations. I know. I'm so excited. Congratulations on all your success. Thank you for your time. Good luck in all your classes. I know finals are coming up really close. So good luck to all that. And thank you again. I appreciate you, Mari.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.